Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life here today with a design team post for fairy stamper video. Today I'm going to be using quite a few different stamps. I'm going to be using a Fairy Christmas, Holiday Sparkle, Lantana, Tokara, the Decorating Tree, and Hanging Snowflakes. And for my backgrounds, I decided to pull something out of my stash that I have never used before, which are my gelatos. So I had a couple different packages and they were not even open, and I've had them for years. So I got out YouTube and watched a few videos. I did gesso the paper that I'm using to create the backgrounds, and I did not do anything, I'm sure, nearly as what you could do. I really just put the color down and smeared it around with my finger. As it warms up, it smears better. I did find that you really needed to make sure you put enough of the color pigment onto the paper, otherwise it was really difficult to move around even with the gesso. But after you made sure that you had enough, it moved around fairly easily. And like I said, I just kind of tried to create backgrounds. You can just keep adding color on top until you kind of get to where you want. So I just think that's really cool that you can just keep adding color upon color until you kind of get the shading or the coloring that you want. And you see I'm just adding it. Again, there was no rhyme or reason for what I was doing. I did try it on paper that wasn't gessoed, and I would definitely suggest making sure that you gesso paper if you're going to use the gelatos on there, because it really does not move around the paper. The color, the pigment does not move around the paper very well without it. So like I said, I made a couple different backgrounds. This one I went back into and decided I wanted to add some more color to it. And just, again, that was the very first one I did, and then I just kind of went back with it some more. So I decided to use both of the lighter ones for the backgrounds for both of these cards. And I cut them down to 5.5 inches because I'm going to make a 5.5 inch square card. And then I do end up cutting it down a little bit more so that it has a border and a background panel. So I end up cutting it down to 5 inches. Now I'm going to start out by taking the decorating tree and stamping it 3 times on the background, just kind of towards the bottom. And as you see, I was kind of trying to make it where it was, like a sun and the ground with the colors of the gelatos. And to stamp the trees, I am using Versa Magic Tea Leaves is the color, and it's a chalk, a fast drying chalk ink. And I like it because it's a little bit sparkly. Even though I know it's a chalk, it still has some sparkle in there. And then I am just using Sunflower Yellow, a Your Next Stamp ink cube for the star. And like I said, I just did that 3 times. I do end up coming in here with the heat tool just because I want to make sure that that is dry before I am going to start doing some heat embossing on it. So then I am going to use my embossing tool to make sure that I don't get embossing powder everywhere on the card. And then I'm going to pull out my 2 fairy stamps. And I'm going to position them. And I want Tokara to be, kneeling there waiting to hold. She's going to be ending up holding one of the hanging snowflakes that Lantana is going to be giving to her. So I thought these Christmas cards were kind of cute, or holiday cards, and I thought they were fairly simple, yet I thought they just really were a cool little kind of story to go along with it, of her giving her some, or sending her a little holiday sparkle, and then to have a fairy Christmas, which are the sentiments that I ended up using. So I'm using two colors on the fairies. I am using a metallic blue and a metallic purple on the fairies. On one of the cards, I used the glitter clear. It's kind of a clear and glitter, and that was kind of hard to read. Up close, you can read it better than maybe in the pictures, but it was still a little difficult. Now, that one had some holes in it, and I have an embossing pen, so I just tried to fill up some of the holes and then put the embossing powder on there again, and then I'm going to reheat that to try to fill some of the holes that did not get filled the first time I did it. And I like to put multiple stamps down and stamp as many things as I can at one time, so I'm going to add both of the sentiments along with the hanging snowflake that I am using. I'm going to use some black embossing powder for the sentiments for this particular one, but like I said on the other card, I did use a lighter, or the sparkle that I use on the snowflake here, and I just think, like I said, it was a little difficult to read. On the other card, I used silver for the hanging snowflake and then the sparkle for the lettering, but like I said, I liked the black better. It did come out, obviously easier to read. And you got to be kind of quick when you're going to be heat embossing, when you're using embossing powders and you stamp multiple stamps. So you kind of want to have everything setting there ready to go so that you make sure that your embossing ink does not dry out before you get your embossing powder on there. And then I'm just going to heat those up. Now I'm taking a couple Copics and I'm just going to kind of trace or draw in the trunk of the trees just to give it a little more definition in the card, kind of than just having trees with no trunk standing in the middle there. And then I'm taking a red to just highlight the berries that are part of the stamp. And then I will take a yellow, a very bright yellow, to color in the stars that are hanging from the tree. And like I said, the top star, I used the ink pad when I stamped it, but the ones on the tree were much smaller, so I just went over them with that yellow. So that is how I kind of created those trees and created my little scene of one fairy handing a hanging, shining snowflake to another. Then I am going to, like I said, cut this down a little bit more. I'm going to end up making it 5 inches. And then I have a piece of glitter paper in silver, and I thought that matched well with the silver glitter snowflake that I used, the embossing powder there. And I'm going to kind of have that as a frame for this one. The other card that I made, I did not have a frame on. I just made the panel 5.5 inches and put it on a black piece of cardstock. But this one I'm using the black cardstock, and then like I said, I am cutting the glitter paper to 5.5 inches, and I cut down the panel itself, the front panel, to the 5 inches. And then I just cut a black piece of 100-pound cardstock to 5.5 inches long ways by, 11 inches by 5.5 inches, and then I am going to tape it down. So I'm going to use some heavy-duty double-sided tape to tape this down, the panel, because I gessoed it and then using the heat embossing tool on it, kind of warped it some. So I really want to make sure that that front panel is going to stick well to that glitter paper and not have any issues with it pulling up in any area. So that's why I kind of put it all along everywhere on the back of that panel. I'm going to pop it onto the glitter paper, and then I'm going to pop that glitter paper onto the card base itself. Then once I finish up with that, I grab some Nuvo crystal drops in, hold on, I'm trying to read this and I have to get my glasses on, autumn red. so that, or I mean, to give some accents on there and some embellishments on there, along with some iridescent sequins that I have. And I have this bag, and I have no idea where I got them from, but I love them. They are my favorite iridescent sequins. And so I will add both of those things on there to finish off this card. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see something else, let us know. We'll be happy to try to get that out there for you. I will be linking all of the stamps I used down in the comment or in the description, I'm sorry. Make sure that you check out the Facebook pages for Fairy Stamper Hugs and Fairy Hugs. And also make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can get these videos every time they come out from all of our fabulous designers. So thank you. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. Take care, and I will see you next time.